Train to the End of the World, or Where Does the Doomsday Train Go? The English title is a statement, but the Japanese title is a question. I don't have anything to say about that in a review context, but I think it's interesting. Animated by EMT Squared, produced by Kadokawa, directed by the Ramno and Half Guy and wait, I wasn't taking this seriously at first, but those are big names. I'm gonna need a second here to get my expectations and move them way up here. Yeah, that seems like a good spot. Asako Nishida was on character designs. Miho Tsujibayashi composed music. It's a good team, so I wonder why this 2024 anime is so obscure. The opening for TTT EOTW, or WDDTG ? Depending on your nationality, is called Gatan Gatan, and it makes me very, very happy. It's catchy and charming and so gosh darn cute. Just try and think of something sad while you listen to this. Now that we're both failures, I'm less ashamed to admit that instead of whichever cliffhanger they left me with at the end of last episode, I was kind of just excited to watch the opening again. The online consensus is that the genre for TTTEOTW is post-apocalyptic, science fantasy, slice-of-life, surreal comedy. Okay, it's an anime about teenage girls being friends. That's going to make it a don't watch for all the normal people out there. You can leave now, and I'm sorry for getting your hopes up. The rest of you freaks still here? Cool. The plot is a simple yet effective setup. The main character is going to turn into an animal on her 21st birthday because of 7G waves, which are like 5G waves, but instead of mind controlling you or giving you cancer or whatever they do, they make every town stretch miles apart and give each one a unique gimmick that the residents have to deal with. Or sometimes it just kills everyone in the town or turns them into statues, but that's not really important. What is important is that she misses her friend who had moved away a long time ago at the beginning of episode 1. So after plot devising herself into a train, she's able to convince a few friends to come along with her in what's possibly the most poorly planned and executed post-apocalypse road trip in all of fiction. It's just the first episode, and the overt science fantasy surreal comedy is making me weak at the knees already. If this looks fun to you, I have good news about the rest of the series, mostly, because it keeps this tone flawlessly. It's the opposite of a slow build-up, and the first time watching was a delight to my short-form content affected attention span. Better than animation from the 90s, this animation is objectively good. Impressive, even. A few times I caught myself pausing and rewinding, which is a good sign for the visually minded people out there who are still chasing that dragon from the first Bebop fight scene. You know the one that made you realize drawings could feel like water. But beyond the cynical measure of pure technical skill, I found it to be overall disappointing. There's good lighting and colors, but it looks very cartoony. There's a lot of movement that's done really well, but I can't think of one strong 5-second sequence that could be turned into a 25-minute animation analysis video. There's no poncho fight scene in the show. I waited the entire anime for one, but it's not there. Not that every anime needs a poncho fight scene, but they get really close at a few points before seemingly just giving up. And I just moved this up here too, so it's kind of disappointing, and now I'm a little embarrassed. Before you say, "But it's a show with teenage girls, of course they aren't going to be fist-fighting anyone," I will really test the limits of my no-spoiler policy to tell you that if you had said that, you would be looking incredibly silly, because 90% of the conflicts in the show are resolved physically. This one was my favorite. It goes hard, as the kids say these days, and like I had said before, the animation is objectively good. The conflicts are entertaining, creative, even funny. One of the fights in the later half of the series was the first time in my life I'd ever laughed at referential humor, and it genuinely shocked me. But somehow I still caught myself thinking, that's great, but where's the rest? The tracks live up to the hype of the opening, and full disclosure, I don't know much about music or what makes music good exactly, but I'm going to call it good. A neat touch is that there are a few versions of the same songs to reflect on the environments changing. as well as a lot of variety in the songs themselves, covering cheery pop, light metal, and even the noise genres. The sound effects are what elevates the watch experience, though. Crunchy crunches and dingy dings make you really feel like you're watching an anime with a train in it. That's a thing reviewers say when they like something, right? Either way, there's a very well done end credits song which has found itself on my playlist. These girls are weak. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not saying that because they're literally physically weak teenage girls that run away from their problems to cry, but because even the one-dimensional side characters are more interesting. This guy can only be smart for a few minutes every day, and otherwise is a babbling fool. He primarily communicates to the main cast through Morse code, yet he has more interesting personality and better dialogue than any of the main cast. This character is constantly disassociated and has no idea what's happening. She thinks she's in school right now, yet she's miles more interesting than half hair here. On the main cast, you have the smart one, the kind one, the pretty one, and the main character, who is slightly above average at all of these, yet not enough to outshine any of the other girls at their thing. Rather, just good enough to bring everyone together to solve problems with the power of friendship. You need to follow their journey for 12 episodes, and the best you can come up with is she can water plants, that she likes books. She is kind of a walking stereotype, not gonna lie. There's really no characterization for these characters. The main girl's strongest personality trait is that she really misses her friend, and the only thing that makes it bearable to watch is that their interactions are actually kind of cute and well written despite that. Oh, look, I can't stay mad at them when they're so supportive of her pica disorder. No, it's not enough. It's not good enough to add one paper-thin dimension to a two-dimensional character to try and pretend they have depth. Even less so when the setup for this characterization is brought up once as foreshadowing, once when it's immediately relevant to the episode, and then not mentioned for the rest of the story. The questions I want to be asking myself after finishing a show are, is there a movie too? Can I read the manga to get more? Or what time is it? Do I need to tell someone I'm okay? The questions I do not want to be asking myself are, why would the writers do that? Did I miss an episode somewhere? Or does anyone want to listen to me complain about this? It's disappointing. If a show is written and produced to be only one season long, you would expect there to be a clear beginning, middle, end, some season-long plot lines, at least a few episodes worth of setup or foreshadowing, and maybe a two-part finale that resolves all of that. You would not expect 10 episodes of a road trip, 1 episode of setup, and 1 episode to resolve everything in that order. If you enjoy a feeling called satisfaction, this is maybe not the show for you. But if you are the kind of person who would have fun driving 6 hours to try that one trendy burger place, and you won't be upset when you finally get there to find a flavorless smash burger with a decent milkshake, you might enjoy it.